camera opens on a deserted road at night. Rain falls in heavy sheets, hammering the earth like nails. The sky is black, with the occasional flash of white lightning. A battered sedan crouches at the roadside, its hazard lights blinking weakly through the storm like a dying heartbeat. Steam rises from under the half-open hood, turning the rain into hiss and mist. A pair of rough, shaking hands grips the hood. Grease and water run down the man's arms, streaking like war paint. He leans over the engine, gasping for air, as if he's drowning. From inside the car, through the cracked, rain-smeared glass, a silhouette sits motionless, shoulders tremble. The quiet sound of someone crying, holding their own mouth shut, bleeds into the storm. Hiss, engine, steam, drum, relentless rain. Thud the man's heartbeat in his ears. Metal clank, sudden, sharp like a gunshot, when a tool slips from his hands and hits the asphalt. Everything freezes for a moment. Even the storm seems to stop breathing. The scene holds no names, no explanations, just the raw pulse of fear, grief, and urgency. Something terrible has already happened, and something worse is coming. We don't know why this man is out here. We don't know who is crying in the car. But we know this: whatever they've been running from has already found them. The storm fades into the rhythm of another day. Sunlight spills over rusted tin roofs and the narrow alleys behind a row of small shops. Ameen's workshop sits at the very end, a square of concrete and corrugated metal that looks more like a cage than a garage. Inside, the air is thick with the smell of oil and old engines. He moves like someone who has done this his entire life. Hands sure, motions precise. The walls are lined with mismatched tools, and a single fan ticks overhead, stirring hot air that never really cools. In the back, through a thin wooden door, lies the only other room, a single bed, a chair, and a small table where his mother sits wrapped in a shawl. Her breathing is slow and shallow. Each morning, before the workshop opens, he brews tea for her, sets her medicine by her side, and leaves without a word. The days follow a pattern, fixing cars that barely hold together, arguing with spare part dealers, always bargaining for a little more credit, sliding unopened envelopes into a drawer, rent notices, electricity bills, each one shoved deeper than the last. He eats when he remembers, sleeps when the body forces him, and all the while his eyes carry the same expression. Someone who has learned to keep moving without expecting kindness from anyone. In the stillness of late evening, when the last customer leaves and the tools are hung back on crooked nails, the workshop turns into a kind of shrine. He sits alone on the floor, back against the wall, a single bulb swaying above him. The noise of the city fades, until all that's left is the faint rasp of his mother's breathing. In the next room, on a low shelf, half hidden under a layer of oil-stained rags, lie the remnants of a life he once imagined, dog-eared textbooks, pages curled and stained with grease. Notes in the margins, formulas scrawled in a younger, more hopeful hand. He opens one, touches the words like they might still mean something. Once there had been plans, university, engineering, building things that would outlast him. But the day his father left, the world collapsed into a single, narrow tunnel. Food, medicine, survival. The books never made it out of this room. Only he did, and even that, barely. Now the only towers he builds are made of stacked car batteries. The only bridges he maintains are the ones between unpaid bills and another week of work. Beside those books, in a neat, solemn row, are his mother's medicines, glass bottles, faded blister packs, their labels peeling. They stand like gravestones, marking the cost of every dream he buried. For a long moment he sits in the hush of the small room, hands black with the day's labour, staring at the two worlds side by side. What might have been and what is. It begins with the sound of tyres on wet asphalt, slow at first, then a stuttering growl as something big loses strength. Past midnight, the alley is usually dead, but tonight a black luxury car rolls to a stop, just beyond the reach of his workshop's single flickering bulb. Its glossy body looks like a ghost in the rain, rainwater streaming off it in silver lines. Ameen steps out, wiping his hands on a rag, half ready to wave whoever it is toward the main road. People with cars like that don't come to places like this. The driver's door opens halfway. A tall man in a soaked blazer climbs out without a word. He glances once at Ameen, face pale, eyes frantic, not the kind of man used to asking for help. And then he just walks away into the rain. No explanation, no call for a tow truck. He vanishes, leaving the door swinging open. Through the windshield, there's movement. In the passenger seat, a woman sits alone, shoulders shaking, her face half hidden by wet hair. At first, he thinks she's just cold. Then he sees her hand on the glass, trembling fingers pressed like someone trying not to drown. And then, the smallest detail, barely caught by the stormlight, a silver bracelet around her wrist, simple but unforgettable. Something in his chest pulls tight. She looks up. Through the rain, their eyes meet for the first time. Not recognition, not yet, but a weight, like a door in his memory has just been cracked open. For a moment, the storm outside feels quieter than the one building in his head. He pulls his tools out one by one, each movement deliberate, buying himself a few seconds of distance before he has to face what's waiting in that car. Rainwater pools beneath the luxury engine as he props open the hood. Steam rises, hot and ghostly, swallowing his hands as he leans in. The first turn of the wrench is mechanical, automatic, anything to keep from looking, but the storm is a mirror, and when he finally lifts his head, just for a second, he sees her through the blur. Aisha, older now, but there's no mistaking her. The same tilt of her mouth, the same wide, fierce eyes, though tonight they're hollowed, rimmed red from crying. For a heartbeat, the workshop, the rain, even the car itself disappears. All that's left is the memory of a dusty schoolyard, of shared books and whispered plans under a neem tree. And then the night she vanished. No goodbye. The rumours that followed, her marriage into a world of silk and glass, leaving him standing in the ruins of everything they had built together. The wrench slips in his hand, metal scrapes, his knuckles split open on the edge of the engine block. He doesn't even flinch. He just keeps working. Inside, his chest feels like it's collapsing in on itself. Each bolt he tightens is a dam against the flood. Each turn of the spanner is a vow not to speak, not to ask why she's here. His hands are trembling so badly now that he grips the tools harder, skin slick with blood and rain. Aisha doesn't speak either. She only watches him through the windshield, her face pale and fragile, as if the glass between them is the last thing holding her together. The engine coughs back to life under his hands, a weak, uneven hum. He wipes the rain from his face with the back of his wrist, not looking at her, ready to close the hood and walk away. Then, her voice. Ameen. He freezes. It's the first time she has spoken, and the sound is raw like glass underfoot. Slowly he turns. She has opened the passenger door. Rain runs over her hair, her face, her clothes, but she doesn't seem to feel it. I didn't leave because I wanted to, she says. Each word comes out like it hurts. I left because I was pregnant. The storm seems to hold still. Her hands are clenched in front of her, fingers twisting that silver bracelet. My father thought he was saving me. He married me off. said it was a better life. But when my husband found out, he took my baby, took him from my arms the day he was born, and when I wasn't useful anymore, he locked me out of that life like I was a stray dog. Her voice cracks, but she keeps going. Like the truth has been trapped so long, it no longer matters how it sounds. This car, it isn't freedom, it's a prison. I stole it. I've been driving all night, and I don't even know if I can find him. I just know I have to try. She steps closer. Rain washes the mascara from her eyes, but she doesn't care. And tonight, with nowhere else to go, I thought of only one person I could trust. After everything I did to you, you're still the only one I believe might help me. Her voice drops, softer now, like a plea that has no shape. You. For a moment, the world is just rain between them. The engine evens out beneath the hood, its hum smoothing into something steady. Ameen lowers the hood without a word, the heavy thud cutting through the rain like the closing of a chapter. He walks to the driver's side, water dripping from his hair, from his hands, and places the keys on the dashboard. No eye contact, no questions, just the metallic clink of the key ring as it lands. Ameen! Her voice cracks, but he doesn't stop moving. She steps out of the car, the rain soaking through silk and perfume until there is nothing left of that other life. I can't do this alone, she says. I don't know where to start. I need you. Please, help me get him back. He stands there, hands slack at his sides, looking at her. For a moment, it's as if all those years of silence have led to this one fragile bridge between them. But his eyes are made of stone. Whatever flame once lived there has burned out, leaving only ash. Ameen, please, she whispers again. He turns away first, not because he doesn't hear her, but because he does. She stays there a long time, rain running down her face like it's trying to wash her away. When she finally gets back into the car, when the headlights cut through the wet dark and the engine pulls her away, he doesn't move. He stands in the road, watching the red glow fade into the storm. In the silence that follows, it feels as if something inside him, something that once tied him to the world, has finally broken for good. The nights after that storm are strangely quiet. The alley returns to its rhythm, the hiss of engines, the clang of tools, the smell of hot metal and rain-damp earth. Ameen doesn't speak of her. He doesn't let her name slip, even when the memory of her face hovers at the edges of his work like a ghost. But something has shifted. One morning, instead of reaching for a customer's car, he pulls a torn canvas off the corner of the workshop. Beneath it is an old shell of a vehicle. No doors, no seats, no glass. It has been there for years, rust blooming like mould, too broken for anyone to care. Now he begins to care. Every spare hour becomes a slow resurrection. Stripped bolts, welded seams, a windshield propped into place. He sands the body by hand until it no longer looks like a graveyard of forgotten parts, but the start of something else. In his mind, he can almost see it finished, a working taxi, a way to leave behind the unpaid bills and borrowed time. Not riches, just freedom. In the evenings, his mother watches from the doorway. She sees how his silence has changed. It's no longer the silence of someone who has given up, but of someone quietly choosing to move forward again, piece by piece. She doesn't ask what happened that night, or why he works so late. She just smiles a little when he comes in, hands stained with grease, eyes somewhere far ahead of him. It's a small thing, but for the first time in years, Ameen has a plan. And a plan in a life like his is a kind of hope. Weeks drift by, measured in the slow rebuilding of that old car. The storms give way to a warmer wind, the alley coated with a thin dust that clings to the sweat on Ameen's arms as he works. Late one afternoon, as the sun folds itself into a bruised horizon, A figure steps into the mouth of the workshop. Aisha. She isn't dressed in silk now, no perfume. Her hair is tied back simply, her clothes plain. She stands there for a moment, silent, watching him wipe grease from his hands. I wanted to thank you, she says finally. Her voice no longer shakes. You helped me that night more than you know. I found my son. There's a stillness between them. The weight of all those years seems lighter somehow. She holds out an envelope. Please, take this. It's the least I can do. He doesn't even look at it. No. Ameen. I didn't fix your car that night, he says, turning fully toward her. His eyes are steady, not angry, just clear. I fixed what I used to feel about you. Her hand lowers slowly, the envelope still unopened. She swallows, nods once, and there is nothing left to say. This time, when she leaves, there is no storm, only the faint sound of a child's laugh waiting for her at the end of the street, and the quiet hum of an old car inside a workshop, where for the first time in years, the future feels possible. The first light of dawn spills over the city, soft and gold, turning the wet streets into mirrors. Ameen's rebuilt taxi hums steadily as it rolls out of the alley for the very first time, its patched bodywork catching the sunrise like armour. Behind the wheel, his hands are steady now. Beside him, his mother sits quietly, wrapped in her shawl. Her eyes wander over the streets she hasn't seen in years, and there's pride there, quiet, deep and wordless. The city stirs awake around them. Vendors lift shutters. Children in uniforms hurry past with books tucked under their arms. Life, messy and ordinary, begins again. For the first time in as long as he can remember, Ameen isn't watching it from the side of the road. He's moving with it. Through the open window, the morning air feels different, lighter. If there is a voice, it's only in his own head. Not every broken thing you fix will stay. Some leave so you can finally drive yourself home. And with that, the taxi blends into the waking streets, carrying a man who has learned at last how to begin again.